announcement time. So I am now going to be announcing the 4 books that were published in 1988, this next year block. So expect to see reviews of these books on my channel as I finish them, and then I'll do a general wrap up of 1988, kind of separate. There are 4 books that were published in 1988, and I will be reading all 4 of them. So there are no books from 1988 that I'm going to be skipping. So this far it's going to be everything. The first book is The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore. This is the first published book in the Legend of Drizzt series. It is also book number 1 in the Icewind Dale trilogy, and it is, even though it's the first book published in that Legend of Drizzt series, it is the 4th book chronologically. So a lot of information about that book. I've read Homeland probably 3 or 4 times, which if you watch my other videos, you know I've mentioned that I don't typically do rereads, though you will see towards the end of this month in my combo September/October wrap-up that I've done quite a few rereads this month, mainly just because I love the spooky books that I reread. So that was a little weird for me, but normally I really don't reread books very often unless like they just have a super special place in my heart. So I really love that character, and I'm excited to read one of the books that I haven't necessarily read in that saga. I've heard really great things about the Icewind Dale trilogy specifically. So I'm just really excited to see kind of the first published adventure of a character that I already really like. The next book that I'm going to talk about for 1988 is actually the 2nd book in the trilogy, so I don't really have to wait that long to read it. It is called Black Wizards, so I'm glad that book 2 of the trilogy is in the next year block so that I don't have to wait too long. And it is the same author, Douglas Niles. I mention that because there are some series in the Forgotten Realms universe that do have a different author for every book. The one that comes to mind immediately is The War of the Spider Queen, which I will be reading when I get to the year blocks that those came out in. But I believe there are other series as well. But this one is the same author for all 3 books. The blurb on the back is, "Yet again the Moonshae Isles come under the threat of sinister and supernatural forces. A council of dark sources has usurped the will of the High King. Guided by Baal, god of death, an army of ogres and zombies threaten the gentle folk while the puppet king acquiesces. It falls to Tristan, heir to the throne of the Moonshaes, and his friend Robin the Druid to guard their homeland from certain destruction." So, I'm really excited for this. I'm excited to see more of their adventures, more of Robin being a badass, which I hope it sounds like from the blurb on the back she's going to be. And it also sounds like more growth from Tristan. I haven't really read anything else from this book, so I don't really know what's going to happen to them in this, but I'm really excited that I won't have to wait long to return to these characters. Because much as I don't really want to, if series or trilogies or whatever are separated by a lot of year blocks, I'm going to make myself wait until the appropriate year block to read them. The next 2 books are actually by authors that I have never read any of their books, so that's exciting. That's one of the many reasons that I decided to take on this little personal project, is that I thought it would be cool to introduce myself to a lot of different fantasy writers that I have not yet checked out and might not have checked out in a timely manner otherwise. The first of those 2 authors that I have never read anything by is Ed Greenwood, and the book by him that I'm going to be reading is Spellfire, and that is the first book in Chandrill's saga. The blurb for that one is, "The fire that burns. It can lay low a dragon or heal a wounded warrior. It is the most sought-after magical power in all Faerun, and is in the reluctant hands of Chandrill of High Moon, a young orphaned kitchen lass. Now she's on the run from half of the evil sorcerers in the land, not to mention their relentless minions, but with the help of a handsome young wizard, some rough and tumble knights of Myth Draenor, and a certain old mage of Shadowdale, she just might stay alive, at least until tomorrow." So I'm excited for this for a couple reasons. I've never read anything by Ed Greenwood. I know quite a few of the books in the Forgotten Realms setting are written by him. So this will be nice to this will be my first foray into his writing. This book does feature a main character that is female. This particular series sounds like it's going to be kind of another fun high fantasy romp. I believe this one's a trilogy as well. Most of the series are trilogies. There are just a few that are longer, or like a few books long. And then there's the Legend of Dread series, which is like, I think, is it up to like the 30s or 40s now? I'll have to check that out. So it just sounds like a really fun, exciting, like adventure fantasy style read. The second author that I haven't read before, that is in the 1988 block, is Kate Novick, and she wrote Azure Bonds. Azure Bonds is the first book in the Finder's Stone series, and this one also features a female main character as well. The blurb for this one is, her name is Elias and she's in big trouble. She's a sellsword, a warrior for hire, and an adventuress. She awoke with a series of twisting magical blue sigils inscribed on her arms and no memory of where she got them. Determined to learn the nature of the mysterious tattoo, Elias joins forces with an unlikely group of companions, the halfling bard Ruscatul, the southern mage Akbar, and the oddly silent lizard man Dragonbait. I love that name. With their help, she discovers that the symbol holds the key to her very existence, but those responsible for the sigils aren't keen on Elias's continued good health, and if the 5 evil masters find her first, she may discover all too soon their hideous secret. So this one sounds like a very adventure-heavy, high fantasy novel. There are a couple of points in it that seem like they may be a little generic, but I might be pleasantly surprised that it's not. And once again, this is kind of seeming like it's going to be the block of badass female main characters, except for the Crystal Shard, unless I may be wrong about that one too. But the Crystal Shard is going to contain one of my favorite characters of all time, so I think this is going to be a really good block. I'm really excited for this block. I'm curious to know if any of you have read any of these 4 books I've mentioned, or if you've read Darkwalker on Moonshade and what you thought about it. If you're interested in reading any of these 4 in the next month or 2, comment down below. I'd be happy to do any of them as a buddy read if anyone was interested in that. So if that's something that you'd want to do, let me know as soon as possible so that I can make sure to save it for a time that we could buddy read it together. You can also follow me on the various social medias. I will include in the link down below. And if you do that, then you'll also get to kind of see my reading updates, because I do post those to Goodreads and Twitter, and occasionally even post various reading updates and bookish pictures on Instagram. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and follow me on down there. Thanks, and have a good night.